Kråkan, also known as Chorus Cornix, so welcome to Yacc, yet another Kråkcast where I pick a game, I play it for a week, and then I'll talk about it. This week's game is Super Mario Kart for Super Nintendo. It was released in 1992, developed by Nintendo EAD, published by Nintendo. And also there will be spoilers up ahead, just so you know, but first a little backstory. Just this previous week, I had a friend back in the day that had Street Fighter 2 and I believe Super Mario Kart. And nostalgia is a powerful ally in this case. So as you start up the game, you are prompted to select between one or two players. So the two player options are the battle mode, which is take out your opponent's balloons, I believe 3 of them. And the second option is the versus mode, where you compete against your friend in races. So in the single player action or campaign, you have the Mario Grand Prix, which is race against other opponents in different categories of speed, if that makes sense, 50, 100 and later 150cc. And the other option of the single player is the time trial, where you compete against yourself to get a better time on tracks. By pushing the B button, your kart accelerates, and if you hold the button while at the start of a lap, you will spin out. So there's a tactic to how to rev your engine before a start of a race. The B button uses the items that you pick up from question blocks on the ground, or I believe you can call them tiles instead. The L and R trigger makes your kart drift, and it's very, very steep, so it's hard to learn, but in the lower difficulties like 50cc, you don't need to drift at all, you can just ignore the function altogether. So I play Grand Prix mode this week, and you're supposed to fight or race against the other Nintendo characters. So you have Mario, Luigi, Peach, Yoshi, DK Jr., Toad, Bowser, and Koopa Troopa. And the kart, or the drivers I should say, are heavy, light, and fast, so there's some strategics to how to pick your drivers, so to speak. And also there was one thing I figured out while playing this week. The AI actually cheats because they have different items of their own that they're more or less like rivals to the character you pick, if that makes sense. So the items that the rival character has is not determined by the question blocks or the tiles on the screen. They can actually use this whenever they want, however they want. And in higher difficulties like 50 and 150 and 100cc, they can spam these items. So DK Jr. drops bananas, Peach drops poison mushrooms, Luigi and Mario has a star that they can just use whenever they feel like it, and Bowser drops fireballs. So if you win a race, you get 9 points. If you get second place, you get 6, and third, you get 3 points, and fourth, you get 1 point. So that's the whole shtick of the game. You just want to rack up points and win the overall cup. So I mentioned question tiles earlier, and the items you can get are, or the power-ups I should say, are the green shells, which basically goes in a straight line. And you have the red shells, which are basically seekers, so they seek out the opponent ahead of you. Then you have the bananas, which you can put behind your card so the enemy behind you spins out. You can also collect coins, and the coins are good for if you have more coins, your card actually goes faster, which doesn't make sense, but that's how it works. And then you have the lightning, which shrinks the players all around you, so you can move faster and even crush them. Then you have the feather power up, which makes you jump higher, and that can be used in certain levels to skip certain gaps, so you can get in like a shortcut. Then you have the speed mushroom, which makes your car go faster for a little while. And the items distribute differently depending on where you are in the race. So if you're in 8th place, you're more likely to get the star power up that I forgot to talk about now, or the lightning. So you're more likely to get better items to catch up if you're back in the race. There's also some BS in this game, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit now. The rubber banding. So your rival has no problem catching up to you in the higher difficulties if he spins out or crash or whatever. You, on the other hand, have to really struggle to catch up with the lead. And as I said, that's in the higher difficulties or the higher speed sections, about 100cc or 150cc. But other than that, it's an enjoyable game to play. So in the Mario Grand Prix settings, you have 3 lives, so you can retry a race 3 times or lose 3 times. I think you can earn an extra life by actually getting enough points in the race, but yeah. So in the Grand Prix mode, you have 3 different cups that you can play. It's the Mushroom Cup, the Flower Cup, and the Star Cup. So the first cup that I played was the Mushroom Cup. The first stage is Mario's Circuit. It's a dirt track surrounded by grass and colorful blocks, and it's a simple circular track. The second level is Donut Plains, and it's the same as level 1, but it has sharper turns, some water hazards, and some warp pipes in the middle of the track. The third level or stage is the Ghost Valley, and it's a ghost level. It's a circular track with ghosts surrounding it, and the edges are breakable. So if you bump into the edges of the wooden sort of walkway, they will eventually break and you can fall into the drink. There's also a little skip here. If you have the feather, you can jump over a gap and get ahead of the competition. The fourth level is Bowser's Castle. It's a cobblestone track surrounded by lava and the enemy thumps, those big bricks that want to crush you. You also have some yellow jump pads and some speed boosts along the track. So the final stage of the Mushroom Cup is Mario Circuit 2, and it's more or less like the first level, Mario Circuit, but it has sharper turns, some oil slicks around the tracks, and a large speed boost at the end, so you kind of jump over the track at a point. The second cup is Flower Cup, and the third stage is Cocoa Island. It's a circular track surrounded by dark brown mountains. I assume it's chocolate, but I have no idea. It might be mud as well. There are some mud tracks on the level as well that slows the cart down. There are also some bumps in the road, but, and some piranha plants sticking up. So the second level is Ghost Valley 2, and it's like the first ghost track, but this doesn't have a safety railing at all, so that's the difference. So the third level is Donut Plains 2, and it's a mud track surrounded by grass and colorful blocks. And you have a little nice lake setting, and also these annoying moles that jump up and grab your cart. It's a bit like the Moo Farm in the Nintendo 64 Mario Kart stage, but instead of crashing into the moles, they kind of grab onto your cart, so you have to jump to, like, with the L or R button to kind of shake them off your cart, because they will slow you down. So the fourth level is Bowser Castle 2, and it's a cobblestone racetrack surrounded by lava, just as the previous Bowser Castle stage, but it's shaped like a C. And it's very easy to fall off and into the lava, and the thumps are very squeezed together, so it's hard to get around the track. And there are also some yellow speed boosts and jumps. So the final stage of the Flower Cup is the Mario Circuit 3, and it's just like Mario Circuit 1. It's a colorful block track with oil slicks. So moving on to the Star Cup, and the first level is Koopa Beach. It's a circular sand track on a beach with deeper parts, or deep water parts that will slow your cart down, and there's also some jumping, splashing fish. This is actually my favorite stage in the whole game. It has an upbeat track, and I like it a lot. So the second level is Cocoa Island 2, and it's a circular dirt track with dark mountains in the background with piranha plants sticking up in the track. It's more or less like the first Cocoa Island. So the third level is Vanilla Lake, and you're basically driving on a frozen lake which has some ice physics and some hole in the ice. If you drive in the snow with your cart, it gets a little slower, and there are some ice, not bumps, but there's some ice protrusions that will slow your cart down a bit. And the fourth level is Bowser's Castle 3, and it's the same Bowser levels. There's some cobblestone surrounded by lava. And the final level of the Star Cups is, you guessed it, Mario Circuit 4. So this is an asphalt track with oil slicks, with some green piping sticking up in the middle of the track. So I didn't unlock the 150cc and the Special Cup this week. The Special Cup more or less introduced some more unique levels like the Rainbow Road, and I don't think it had a safety railing like the N64 version, but I don't know. I had fun playing this week regardless. So gameplay. Race or battle against a second player, or play the Grand Prix or time trials as yourself against the AI. Control, the D-pad moves the cart around, B accelerate, A uses the weapon, and I believe the Y button brakes and reverse. The select button changes to the rear view mirror, the start button pauses, and the L and R button jumps, and if you hold the L or R button and the directional pad in that direction, you do a drifting move. Graphics. Mode 7 was used to rotate and scale a 2D image to make it or give it the illusion of a 3D image. This was also used in the F-Zero games in Pilot Wings, and it's a neat little effect. Sound and music. Soya Okosa made the soundtrack for this game. It's an upbeat, happy, catchy soundtrack, and I can recommend it. Give it a listen. Easter egg secrets and glitches. So there's a way to glitch out the game in believing that you complete a lap without doing so, and there are two ways to doing this. So the first way is to get a feather item and place yourself alongside the starting line. You drive backwards and you jump with the feather over the finish line, and the Lakido, the guy that fish you up out of the water, he will place you behind the finish line, and once you drive over the line, it counts as if you have passed a lap basically. The second method is a little bit finicky, but you place yourself on the finishing line and you drive right into the blocks on the side of the level. I think this works on the Mario Circuit level, so you're supposed to jump into the wall, and if you do this correctly, you will pass a level somehow. I think this is due to the earlier Mario Karts didn't have checkpoints throughout the level to register where the play was. In this case, they only have one, so if you glitch that out, it counts as you finishing a lap. And there's also the thing with the rival AIs. In the higher difficulties, they spam items that doesn't require the use of a question tile or a question block. So as I said before, Bowser drops these fireballs and Peaches drops poison mushrooms, and in the higher difficulties, like 150cc, they are relentless and spam these items. So it's really unfair. Plus the overall bad rubber banding in the higher levels, when you knock out your rival and they just catch up you like they're hungry or something. That's the only BS part of it, but it makes the game more competitive, I guess. So in conclusion, I wrote yes, play it, at least 50 and 100cc. It's a fun game. It's definitely not the best in the series, but you gotta respect where the whole kart genre came from. On the negative end, on the higher difficulties, the rubber banding is terrible and the spamming of rivals' items, and it's very hard to catch up if you fall behind. So I would recommend just playing the lower difficulties or play some battle modes with your friends or whatnot, because that's kind of fun. So this game still has some value and it holds up today, and I can definitely recommend it. Play it. So anyway, thanks for listening and or watching, and take care.